Good morning. May the grace and peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with each of you, and happy Tuesday. Before we get started on the devotion part of our devotion, I want to admit to you right up front that I have absolutely no idea how long we'll be doing this social distancing isolation thing. None of us do. I guess we'll just keep doing whatever it is we're doing as long as we need to do it. But what I do know for sure is this. I know that I'm tired of talking about the coronavirus, and I'm pretty sure that if you haven't already, you're going to get pretty tired of hearing me talk about the coronavirus. So unless there's some new development, good, bad, or otherwise, that pops up in the next few days, I'd like for us to spend our daily time together, focusing on a topic that has unfortunately taken a back seat to the global situation that we're not going to talk about. I'm referring, of course, to the reality of Lent. Can you believe that next Sunday is Palm Passion Sunday? No, it hasn't been canceled, nor has Holy Week's Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday observances. Although we'll obviously be observing the remainder of Lent and Holy Week a bit differently than we have in the past, I pray that you'll join me in participating in the spirit of Lent nonetheless. And what's more, if there was ever a time that we needed the spiritual nourishment that Lent offers, it's now. So with that in mind, I would like for us to recall a couple of verses from Psalm 139, verses that we spent a good deal of time talking about back during the pre-social distancing days, back when we drove to worship rather than logged into worship. So hear these inspired words from David's Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life. You know, those two verses, at least for me, puts into words the very essence of what Lent's all about. Lent's about intentionally submitting yourself to God's refining grace, the grace that was bought and paid for on Calvary's cross. It's about honestly asking God to examine your life in the light of His Word and to point out any areas that you've not yet submitted to Him, any aspects of your heart, soul, mind, and strength that, for whatever the reason, you've kept for yourself. You know, under normal circumstances, we would have to intentionally force ourselves into spending time alone with God. And if you're anything like me, stepping away from the day's routine busyness would have been a matter of disciplined will. But due to the forced isolation that's come as a result of our global situation, the situation that I said I wasn't going to mention, discipline and will on our parts has kind of become a moot point. So I say, why not? Since we're all isolated anyway, since we all seem to have more alone time on our hands than usual, why not take advantage of it? We might as well make the best of it by taking the opportunity to not just read David's Psalm 139 prayer, but actually pray it. Prayerfully make it your own by asking God to examine whatever it is that might be keeping you from fully experiencing His abundance in your life. Any part of your life that you're keeping for yourself rather than submitting to God's grace. Sure, we're going through a bad time. There's no sense in sugarcoating it. But there's no reason we can't make the best of it. After all, we may be able to isolate ourselves from one another. But as the first 22 verses of Psalm 139 clearly indicates, isolating ourselves from our loving Creator, it just isn't possible. God's known you and loved you since before you were born. And my prayer is that each of you will use this time to immerse yourself in your personal relationship with your Creator who knows you better than you know yourself. With regard to our current situation, God's got this. So keep looking up, keep loving one another, and we'll see you tomorrow.